I couldn't resist, okay? I'm sorry, but I have to make a video about this. Are we talking about DC's recent slate of animated movies called the Tomorrowverse? If you don't know how this came to be, let me quickly catch you up. So back in the 90s, we got Batman the Animated Series, critically revered, the first of its kind, blazed till today. So in the same universe as that, we also got other shows like Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, and of course, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
What gave me away?
You overplayed your part, yo.
And while we did get some new bits and pieces that was supposedly part of that universe, it's mainly finished. So going from that, we got some DC animated movies that were usually independent and self-contained, and were mostly banger after banger. From this line, we got movies like Batman Under the Red Hood, Justice League Doom, and Batman Superman Public Enemies. All different art styles, all different voice casts, whatever. But since every studio in the early 2010s wanted that Marvel money, DC was like, hey, while we get this movie shit off the ground with Man of Steel, let's do the same thing with our animated movies. So that's exactly what they did. They released Justice League Flashpoint Paradox to specifically say, we're starting this new line of movies where you can actually grow attached to these characters and they grow and change over these movies. When Flashpoint Paradox came out, it was collectively revered as a certified banger. It was a self-contained Justice League story for the fans that had great action, high stakes, and Batman crying. Like, come on, that's emotional. We also got some really chunky necks on those guys. I don't know what the fuck happened to the proportions, but you're sure as hell not gonna be able to choke any of them. Anyways, the universe is reset by the Flash, aka Barry Allen, because he can't stop fucking the timeline. So this is where the DC AMU started, the DC Animated Movie Universe. We see the formation of the Justice League, which was loosely based on the New 52 reboot that was happening in the comics at the time. And we have some good adaptations of stories. We got Bitch Boy Robin, we got Pedo Deathstroke, and we got Death of Superman. Yes, there was kind of a Death of Superman way before this one, but it didn't really capture the essence of Superman dying and coming back. I also watched that first movie as a kid because my mum just saw Superman and just downloaded it from a dodgy site with Korean subtitles. Yeah, it was pretty violent.
Goodbye.
Anyway, so these movies started coming out all with the same voice cast, the same art style, and the same character profiles. That was until they decided to Game of Thrones this motherfucker hardcore. This franchise's final movie was Justice League Apocalypse War, and if you've seen it, you know that it's pretty damn crazy. I'm not gonna spoil what happens, but if you genuinely fell in love with these characters over the course of however many movies, prepare to book some therapy. And that's why this video sponsor is BetterHelp. I'm kidding. By the way, apparently that company is really shady and unethical, so I encourage you to stay away from them. And yes, I probably just sacrificed any chance of being sponsored by them in the future. You're welcome. So this movie ends with Flash traveling in time, and lo and behold, the universe is reset once again. New actors, new stories, new style, we're starting fresh. So this new slate of movies, it started pretty good. The first movie was Superman Man of Tomorrow, which was why this universe was called the Tomorrowverse. Darren Criss voiced Superman, Alexandra Daddario voiced Lois Lane, and Zachary Quinto voiced Lex Luthor. Pretty studded cast. Also Jason Todd, aka Soldier Boy, aka that one guy from Supernatural, voices Batman. That's pretty sick. So after this movie, we get a Justice Society movie, and we get a Batman Long Halloween two-parter. They were both pretty decent. They were also playing the formation of the Justice League in this era. They were teasing at it. But then, oh my god. Guys, fair warning, the positivity stops here. If you like the Tomorrowverse movies, I suggest you click away. Green Lantern Beware My Power came out. I don't know what it is with Green Lantern and the shit-ass luck with movies, but this movie was goddamn terrible. I'm not even saying that just to be funny. I was actually pretty excited for a Jon Stewart Green Lantern focused movie. But to put it simply, this movie was fucking ass. I gave it 1 star out of 5 on my letterbox. You know what else I gave it 1 star on there? Madam Web, Morbius. This shit was genuinely so fucking garbage. There was nothing I liked about it except the character design. The animation? Shit. The voice acting? Shit. The story? Even more shit somehow. And I wish I could say this was a one-time thing, but it really wasn't. Also, tell me why all of a sudden the Justice League is a huge roster with the Watchtower in space. What the? When did this happen? Every movie following this was also a piece of shit. And I'm sorry, but if you worked on these movies, I'm sure it's not your fault. There were probably time restraints, studio mandates, and awful creative decisions made by people who usually write bank statements instead of scripts. But this movie really highlighted the bone I pick with animated projects nowadays, and that's traditional actors taking the jobs of professional voice actors. It's genuinely fucking bullshit. It's not just about, oh, I can sound like like an elf. Usually, these voice actors slam dunk on these traditional acting bitches with how they project their voice and emotions. And I know it's usually for marketing purposes to say like, hey, we got this famous person voice acting in this movie, but these movies are straight to home release. Who the fuck cares? Get the people who have been training their whole lives to act in this shit. And I know if I take a step back and realize that I'm just yelling about a bunch of superhero cartoon movies, I know I'm a fucking crazy person. But right now, I'm trying to save an entire sector of the acting industry here. Do you think any of the live action Spider-Man actors could do a voice acting like this?
No, you're wrong! You are everything I wanted to be! You just threw it away!
It's not even fair, right? Anyway, my point is, for the most of the main cast in these movies, they're just regular actors who have been terribly miscast. Not because of their lack of skill as an actor, but because voice acting is a completely different animal. As an actor, you have your face, you have your hands, you have your body, you have your eyes to portray emotion. Do you know what a voice actor has? It's not the same. Okay, I'm done with the voice acting thing. Let's move on. The next few movies in this Tomorrowverse, if you follow my letterbox, you will know that these movies are not exactly the most riveting pieces of cinema either. Legion of Superheroes, dude. I watched this in the family living room and my brother was passing by and decided to just tune in. The amount of times we laughed at how fucking shit this movie was is insane. I swear these scripts would have had to be made in the 48-hour turnaround because Jesus Christ. And you know what consistently bothers me about these movies? They're so terribly edited. Warning, once I point this out, you will not be able to unsee this in any of the movies. Between lines of dialogue, there will just be the most random pauses that will just kill the flow of the conversation so hard. This was driving me fucking insane. So you're suggesting we head to the Watchtower? Yes, I believe that is the best plan of action.
You made some kind of deal with that monster.
Wrong.
The amount of times this would happen. Oh my god, it's like the creators had a runtime to fill, but every time they were short of 2 minutes, so they just chucked in random spaces throughout the movie. Alright, let's move on to Justice League Warworld. Clearly 4 different people wanted to write 4 different movies, and only one of them were interested in making anything remotely close to a Justice League story. By the way, it's called Justice League Warworld, but be ready to only see 4 members max. And if you're tuning in to see Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman being, I don't know, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, be ready to skip to the last 30 minutes of this movie. And here we are at Crisis at Infinite Earths, arguably the biggest DC event that you could possibly adapt. And this happens, let me check, 4 years after the first movie. Nice. That's like having Avengers Secret Wars instead of the first Avengers movie. What the fuck is happening here? Well, since it's such a big scale event, thank God we got 3 parts to fit it all in, right? Wrong! The complete fucking opposite, man. The complete fucking opposite. If you took all the parts in these movies that genuinely contributed to the plot, it would probably make like 70 minutes in total. And that's being generous. Literally the one good thing we got out of these 3 movies was Kevin Conroy returning for his final lines as Batman, and possibly the most badass final lines you could ever give to a Batman voice actor.
I care, Joker. About Gotham. About justice. And if it has to end, at least I go out like this. Being Batman.
Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. I'm happy your final lines were badass as hell, but I'm sorry that your final projects were either between Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, or this heaping pile shit of a movie. I know people hate on the Arrowverse sometimes, but I was a big fan, and their Crisis on Infinite Earths event, it wasn't the best crossover they've done, but at least it was a single cohesive story with lots of fun. This shit though? This shit. Bro. Why am I spending 20 minutes watching the Justice League herd and capture dinosaurs? I don't give a fuck! Even an awesome premise like that, and they somehow managed to ruin it. So now the universe is reset, and you can assume that it's James Gunn's new DCU, because apparently all the animated projects are now gonna be canon or something. Dude, I cannot get over how badly they fumbled these movies. I know some of you might really like these movies, and I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but everyone's different. But oh my god, it's funny how in the past, people used to say that the one thing you can count on DC to beat Marvel at is animation. But now, just looking at one still frame from X-Men 97, that alone is probably more entertaining than watching any of these piece of shit recent movies. Alright, I'm done. That's all for this week. Check out my second channel for random vlogs. Check out my Instagram, check out my music, check out my letterbox as well if you want to see up-to-date film reviews or thoughts that I have. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.
10-1-5 in the open night, I can't help it.